This might come as a shock, but Encanto is pretty good. Disney films have been kind of hit and miss recently, but this was definitely a hit. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's gorgeously animated, and of course, it's been covered to death by people online, so I really don't have much to add. You've all heard this before. There's millions of videos on this film already, none of which I've seen besides some reviews before I saw the film, mostly so I don't get too heavily influenced when making this. I don't do videos so there's nothing new to add, which is why I barely talk about anime, and while I'll never make a video on Avatar, Harry Potter, or the MCU, despite how much I may or may not want to make those. Encanto though spoke to me so much, as you'll see later on in this video, that I just had to talk about it. So, this is what I'm going to do, even if I'll concede it's not the most original idea I've made. Music is great. Disney music is also great. I'm talking about all the songs in Encanto. Clearly the guy who unironically thinks Donkey Country cartoon songs slap is the best person to make this video. So 2 quick and kind of obvious notes before we start. For 1, full spoilers, duh. For 2, the most important one, I actually do like all the songs on this list. Lower songs aren't bad, that's just how rankings work. So, how many songs are we talking? Only 8. I'm doing a ranking video on only 8? It's not like over 100 or 200. It's something reasonable? Anyways, on the list. So something being at the bottom of this list makes it seem like it's bad. It's not. That's just, rankings are ranking. So, yeah. But out of the way, the lowest song on this list is Dos Margaritas. Now, first things first, I do appreciate the decision to have a song in the native language of the family in the film. In a big budget Hollywood movie for general audiences, you usually don't see that. The song itself sounds very nice and calming. It fits the theme of the film well. The translated lyrics are about, of all things, captured and killing butterflies. Not what I would have expected based on the scene in the film, but I am a fan of Bugs Life, so it's vibes. The problem isn't actually with the song at all. It's with the scene it's attached to. Listen, it's not all bad, or even mostly bad. It tells backstory clearly, and Pedro's reaction to finding out Alma's pregnant slays me. Speaking of slaying, Pedro dies! And is it me, or does this just not fit? I can't put into words why, but to me it just doesn't seem to work. Especially when you hear the translation. At first I chalked this up to sounding a bit too upbeat for this moment, but rewatching the scene or listening to the song, it not at all. I don't really know why this doesn't vibe. It's still a great song, but it's just the bottom of my list. Colombia Me Encanto is basically the theme song to Encanto. It plays in the credits and other parts of the film. Not really much else to say here, really. It's really upbeat and happy, but doesn't stick with me as much as the other songs. The statement is super short. Here's an explosion. This is immediately where things get hard. Like, these songs are all the similar level of quality to the point where you can completely swap numbers 3 through 6, like, completely the opposite direction, and I would still pretty much agree with you. That being said though, as the way I'm feeling right now, number 6 is the family madrigal. I'll just criticism first, exposition. Now, not cinema sins. I know exposition is important and musicals are epic and based, since just by making it a song, they make it both entertaining and more natural. I do kind of wish the other characters chipped in when Mirabel mentions them. It would be a good way to incorporate them and show more of their personality, though this is an already long song, so I get why he didn't. It's definitely a song that gets you in the mood for the film. It's fast-paced and as zippy as a kid after drinking coffee, despite the problems it brought up. I also love Mirabel constantly dodging the questions though, along with this.
Mirabel didn't get one.
I don't know how popular of an opinion this is, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Isabella at first. She's just kind of the standard, snooty, perfect girl. She's rude, beloved by all for not much of a reason. Like, I get it, flowers are banger. I love Piranha Plant. I went to the flower shop and got a famous fly trap. But then it ate my chair, and that was a really cool chair. So I had to put him down, and it was a really traumatic experience for me, and I don't know where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to say is, what else can I do with James in my eyes? After creating what I think is supposed to be Hidden Mickey, Isabel and Mirabel sing a duet of sorts. I love that throughout the entire song. Isabel is just so freaking ecstatic to find out the true meaning of Christmas, while Mirabel is trying still desperate to get her to hug it out. I love the flower wordplay, and the visual side, the vibrant colors of both the background and the plants. It's not as visually amazing as 2 certain other songs I'll talk about later, but it gets close. Listen, I'm sappier than all Canada. I just love seeing these two finally get along throughout the whole movie of them being at each other's throats. Well, Isabel being in Mirabel's. She was just trying to earn her new fireside patch, guys. Give her a break. Every Disney musical has that one big showstopper nowadays. The one Disney desperately wants to be hopefully nominated for the best songs at the Oscars and get played at every Walmart until the end of time. There was Let It Go, Now How Far I'll Go, and now we have Waiting on a Miracle. Well, definitely cut from a familiar cloth, this song is kind of the hook of the film. We get a look in not just Mirabel's inner thoughts, but a brief glimpse of the overall theme of the film, family acceptance, is planned here. The highlight is definitely the part where everything turns yellow and Mirabel just lets everything out. I could listen to that forever. My one little weird aside is that this song starts with Mirabel with her family, but ends with her elsewhere. Maybe she did have a gift after all. That's gonna be an annoying fan for you one day, and I expect all the royalties, Pat. All of You is the final song of the film, not counting credits. It's definitely a good finale. The song lets every main character get one moment in the spotlight, including being the only time Bruno sings. Speaking of which, I wasn't able to say this before, but Bruno is best character, that is a fact. I wouldn't expect Sid Ice Age to be a good singer, but I do like his zippy pace here. Again though, this is everyone's song. Whether it be visually or lyrically, everyone gets a moment to shine as they make Monster House 2. Favorite part being this kid breaking the sound barrier. Really a lot of my love for the song just comes to it being a wrap-up of the film. It solves everything nicely, Mariano and Dolores get together, Bruno finally becomes accepted and manages a rocky relationship with the rest of the family. The whole plot of the film, that's a big one, that's important. Also, Bruno references Let It Go. We will never escape it. You know, I know this thing gave me a lot of trouble, but I think I just need to say it. I think we should talk about Bruno. Insert joke by Disney hating people named Bruno here. These top two are some of the greatest songs Disney's ever made. And picking which one is one and which one is number two was the hardest part of this list. We don't talk about Bruno, who has some of the best visuals in a Disney movie. And while it's not as trippy as a lot of their past songs, it has a lot of quick cuts and tilt angles that tell you that something is off. That this Bruno dude is just that freaky. It's the closest Encanto gets to a villain song, though it's more of a villain sucks song, like Cruella de Vil, Funny Came England, or most accurately the Baxton song, since Bruno is actually pretty epic. Let's break this down part by part. Peppa and Felix's verse start with Peppa explaining how Bruno ruined her wedding day, while Felix just keeps coming in to remind us that he is the best husband. The lighting is mostly sickly here, to immediately give you the impression of Ego Shaggy being that twisted. Dolores' verse removes this background music that played during the previous verse, with ominous, barely hearable beat that's fitting of her whisper rapping and for someone with superhero. While Peppa Pig and Felix's part of the song were about building up how his gift is a bad thing, this is about making the dude himself seem like a lunatic. Also in the background of this part, you see someone running around. Considering that Bruno is living in your walls, and this figure is green, which is his signature color, it makes sense that this could be him. He also starts dancing at the end, which is also very Bruno. Camilla's part is my favorite. I feel like he was underused throughout the film, but this is really his time to shine. This part is now on Bruno's physical appearance. The beat this time gets a more bombastic fitting of a show-off. The lighting is back to being more sickly, and we got dancing rats. I love dancing rats. Put more dancing rats and stuff. His shapeshifting ability is also shown out very well here. Honestly, shapeshifting is one of the coolest powers out there, and we need more characters that use it. Also, Camilla is heavily associated with chameleons, and you all know how I feel about those. We then get just some random people off the street wishing for Bruno's head too. This entire town just hates Bruno for being himself. I relate. Also, shout out to the one woman carrying around her dead fish with her. Or Psychopath just carries around a dead pet. This joke might have gone too far. After this though is Isabel, who's interesting since she's the only one positive on Bruno, since his prediction for her is that she'll get great power and she'll live her best life. More fuel to Isabel's perceived perfectness I'll get to deconstruct later, and our first little sign that maybe Bruno isn't all that bad. Dolores comes back not only to tell us that she got cucked, but she drops the line that she can still hear Bruno. Another nod that he is, you know. They then all sing at once, and it somehow works super well. No one overpowers another. You can hear everyone clearly despite the chaos, plus it's like the most sketchy part of the entire thing. Though I do question why a family needs to set the table, since we saw in the family madrigal the house can do it itself. Add on Mirabel realizing this was the moment that she fricked up. You have a near perfect song that it's honestly a shock it isn't number one. Also, final note, I love Lucia just depressingly dancing at the end. Speaking of Lucia though, look, by positive elimination, you already know what number one is. There's no use building it up. It's surface pressure. There's a surprising amount to unpack here, so let's start with the basics. This is the most visually pleasing song of the film. They go between set places so quickly, yet you can still pick out what each scene is. Not to mention the different parts are also creative and memorable. People have compared this song to Friend Like Me, and that's a good comparison. And one that does not come around often. Musically, I wouldn't expect Lucia to be a great singer based on her speaking voice, but no, she's great. There's two distinct tones to her speaking. This kind of talk singing and then the more traditional kind. And sometimes she's singing very fast, and other times it's kind of slow. You think that wouldn't work at all, but despite not having any real conditions between them, though that's likely intentional, since a lot of the songs seem to come from her naturally, it just works. Is there anything actually bad I can say about it? It's kind of lame they didn't make Hercules the movie version. Well, actually, there's probably a safe for a million all Disney films are connected theories. So no, this is a good decision. So let's get to the main reason why this is top on the list. And warning, it's gonna get a little sappy. While a familial bond and acceptance is the main focus of the film, surface pressure is the main highlight of another part of this message, that being, well, pressure. There's a clear reason why they call the abilities the family has gifts and not something like powers or whatever. It's important out that this is a lot like the whole gifted child thing that schools have. While that's in theory a good thing, being labeled gifted, it could easily lead to a lot of, well, pressure being labeled as gifted, since it makes people seem like you may have superpowers, when deep down you're still just a person. You can't make everyone happy or proud, leading to doubt, overwhelming, overworking, and imposter syndrome. Making Among Us joke, I will kill you. This is the first time I've personally seen this type of negative pressure discussed in media. It's a major part of Lucia's character, as she was constantly told to do various different tasks because people expected it from her and know her to be the strong one without thinking what she herself would want. Listen, we all want a buff woman, but this is too far. Now, I should note this is not kind of a gifted kid themselves. I am in fact the exact opposite. Not looking for pity points, just listing facts. I was kind of seen as a failure by most of my teachers. Heck, I'm pretty sure my 3rd grade teacher hated me. I know for a fact my 8th grade math teacher did hate me. I'm Mirabelle in this scenario. I'm a mistake without abilities, realizing that it's not easy at the top. But in a way, I relate to Lucia too. I'm constantly worried about disappointing people, doing things for others just so they'll still like me. I get that. Really, the best way for me to sell you on why this is number one is this. When it comes to my favorite pieces of media, they always have that one singular moment that I can point to and say, this. It could be something comedic, dramatic, big, small, universal, specific to me, a song, a character, a scene, a line, just something that I see and I realize, no matter what happens after this point, I'm gonna love this. This will stick with me forever. This song was that moment for Encanto. This was just when everything clicked into place for me. Between the amazing visuals, the extremely catchy song, the underlying themes that hit extremely close to home, just everything about this song. It rises above even We Don't Talk About Bruno as one of the greatest songs Disney has ever made in their entire history, and easily my favorite song in the film. There's clearly a lot going on under the surface. I wouldn't have it any other way.